Well, the Packers survived. They beat the Carolina Panthers. They beat the Carolina Panthers, and now we move on to this week against the Minnesota Vikings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's head for some intro music, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to PackReacts. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler. One of our other hosts right here is Mike Arvanio, as we got here on today's show, folks. And we are going to be talking about breaking down the Carolina Panthers Packers game, going through the Packers facing the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming week, and we'll be talking about some New Year's hope of the Packers, maybe some stuff they're changing like the Seattle Packers. So, first thing I like to start off with Mike is, what amazing Christmas gift did you get this Christmas, sir?
I don't have it with me, but I actually got a nice puzzle my mom gave me. It's like a Packers puzzle. It says like a bunch of dogs watching the TV wearing Packers stuff. It's probably one of these like NFL puzzles that they have for every team, but obviously I got the Packers one. So I finished that. So I gotta what do you call it? Glue it, and then it's gonna probably go right up here.
There we go.
Get some more Packer stuff in the background.
Sweet.
No cool architecture like in your background, though. I like that, Jeremy.
This is my house. This is my the design of my house. My parents.
Uh-oh. Don't what do you call it? Hopefully no one can reverse engineer it, see where you live, you know?
Yeah. Well, they have to find me. They have to find me. Otherwise, I might move away.
They're gonna come on the show, you know. Instead of just coming on the normal way, like asking us to join, they're gonna come and force their way on.
Yeah, they could.
Okay.
But yeah. I will share.
What about you? Yeah.
So I like to bring this, that I did get this fun gift. I got this Packer mini helmet autograph that I like to share with the chat and the fans here. Leroy, wait. Oh, wait, there we go. We can see the camera there.
There he is.
Leroy Butler, ladies and gentlemen, the band who invented the Lambeau Leap. So this was a nice Christmas gift I got, and I love it, or a piece of it. So this marks my third mini helmet collection now, folks, and breaks the record that now I have someone other than a running back now.
You gotta put him in the camera. You gotta put him behind you.
Yeah. So I gotta try and do that more often, is have more Packer stuff on it. But yeah, so I have Leroy, I have Jamal Williams, I have Ryan Grant, all mini helmet autographs.
That's good. It's good. Well, congratulations. Glad you had a good Christmas. And now we're here for Christmas Eve. The Packers were on against the Panthers in North Carolina. There was some drama. We could talk about that. But the game kind of went as we expected. A team and the Panthers that are not a good team, the worst team in the league.
Yep.
Packers kind of stunk it up again and probably could have lost that game if it wasn't for the fact that they spiked it literally half a second too late before time ran out. So it was the right call. The time definitely had ran out, and they didn't get the ball down spiked in time. But the Packers let them go right down the field.
Yes.
And they had done that the whole fourth quarter, and it was really disheartening to see. In a game where we really needed the defense to step up, should have been a bounce back game for the defense after a terrible performance against Baker Mayfield and the Bucs at home. And it wasn't that at all. If anything, it was probably in shades worse against a team that, at least the Buccaneers, they got Mike Evans, they got Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield's not as bad as everyone thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
But the Panthers really don't have anyone. They have Bryce Young, who I still think has a chance to be pretty good in this league. But their skilled position players are not gonna, um, you know, really anyone's gonna run home for them at all. Although Adam Thielen did have a nice game, had a nice, really a great one-handed catch on the sideline. But yeah, no, the Packers' defensive performance was pitiful again.
Yep.
Jordan Love had a good game, I thought. Aaron Jones had a really good game. No Jaden Reed this time, but Romeo Dobbs came up to play.
Mm-hmm.
Mo Belton,
Yep.
or sorry, Bo Melton
Yep.
had a really good game for what we expected him to have. Um, so offensively, I thought it was a good game. They put up 33 points,
Yes.
right? Um, so I mean that usually put up 33 points. That's going to get the job done. Fortunately, though, the defense allowed 30 and should have allowed 33. So um, yeah, not ideal. Not ideal again from the defense. Joe Barry's not what do you call it? Gaining any ground in my book.
Mm-hmm.
Still think he's gone after this season. I think if anything, it definitely solidified that this week. But yeah, that's the recap of the game. Then we could talk about some drama that happened. But I want to let you go, Jeremy. I've been talking quite a bit.
So I did not get to watch the first 10 minutes of the Packers game because
What?
I was rushing from a Christmas party I was at. They didn't have the game there, so I was trying to rush
Wait,
back.
at night, like you would stayed over?
No, it was during the right before the game. I was like the first. It was
You
like
had like a 8 a.m. Christmas party?
yeah, it was like a 11 a.m. ish kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was there like
So you stayed for
see
what, 2 hours? Like,
yeah.
hey everyone, I gotta go now.
Yeah. So pretty
All
much I
right.
was there. It was a family thing, so pretty much we rushed out of there. I missed the first touchdown. I was in the back of the car with my dad, and literally I could hear I was like putting Grossi on. I was hearing the radio, and I could literally hear the touchdown. So that's the only thing I missed. Then as soon as I get in, I watch the next touchdown. I watch a couple stops there. I watched the rest of the game. So it was overall, I would say that it was disappointing for the Packers. A win's a win, definitely an ugly win from there. Offensively, I will give high praise for this because this offense has looked a lot better from what we've seen since day one. Jordan Love has looked fantastic so far. Threw 2 touchdowns, gave up no interceptions. His accuracy is still an issue, I will admit that, but it's getting a little bit better throughout every time. Like remember the one last week, Mike, of where we saw him misthrow Jane Reed at the Tampa Bay game where he could have had that touchdown. He makes the exact same play, makes the touchdown there of Jane Reed on the Panthers game. So he's gotten better, I will say that. Better bit of pocket awareness, getting a bit better. Run game, I think it I don't think it was like that fantastic besides Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones, when you see Aaron Jones out there and over 20 carries, 121 rush, 27 rushing yards, that's a fantastic day for the Packers run game. Just fantastic to see that. I really liked it. It reminded me a little bit of the healthy Aaron Jones that we're used to having, which this year and a bit of last year, it's been a struggle since he keeps getting hurt. Passing game wise, I mentioned with Jordan Love, the receiver end portion. He did this without Christian Watson, some of the other guys. Tucker Kraft has looked amazing so far. Even without Luke Musgrave, he's looked amazing there. Wicks had a nice touchdown there, but I will admit, with even Romeo Dobbs too, like the Packers' offensive weapons have been better and have been great, and I think that's something to be excited to see for next season. Then the defense. Now we'll get to the coin toss fiasco of Jair Alexander in a minute here. I think the defense was bad for the most part. However, I will give a slight praise, this tiny praise here for the Packers defense. Throughout, they were doing a pretty solid job blitzing, pressuring, doing man coverage for majority of the game, and giving up those 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. When you cannot have that, like that's just ridiculous to see that. So I give a little bit praise of them playing more man coverage and more blitzing. That's where I give a little bit more praise. But giving up those 2 touchdowns is unacceptable because what Mike said last week, he wanted to see a Packer blowout, and it was gonna be happening. And then Joe Barry decided, you know what? Let's make it an interesting ball game. Let's make sure that the odd makers have a better closer of the spread, because it was just ridiculous to see that. Just ridiculous. He put 14 points in the fourth quarter against the worst team in football. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous to see that. And yeah, just painful to see that. And the other thing too is, uh, who was it? Anders Carlson uh, did missed a field goal, if I'm correct, of an extra point, if I'm correct, Mike, or no? He did.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he missed the extra point, which again, I don't understand. Like he made a crucial field goal, like way like over a 50-yard field goal. Yeah. But again, the issue has been with him is the extra points. He cannot convert them, and that almost cost again the Packers a game slightly. I mean, I don't think he was the main reason why, but that's a slight concern there because that's a couple times here and there where if the Packers made the extra points that Carlson missed, maybe the Packers sneak out a win easier than others, maybe. But that was just ridiculous to see that, just ridiculous. And now I'd like to ask this one person here real quick, and I apologize to Twitter here because this is something I just made last second here. I'd like to ask Kevin James what his thoughts are of Jair Alexander when Jair is walking up on the coin contest.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Perfectly stated of what Jair was doing. Perfectly stated. Now, I'd like to ask Mike his thoughts here of this whole Jair fiasco.
Right, right. So that was the drama I was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, so I first heard about it, I guess, after the game when I guess Schneidman and Bill Huber or somebody else asked about, in his press game conference about kind of like why he was out to do the coin toss um, when he wasn't named the captain because the
Mm-hmm.
captains do the coin toss. Um, and, Jair played it down about like how his teammates were on his side and stuff, and that coach obviously didn't know he was from Charlotte, and for some reason that matters to be a captain is that you're from the city that you're playing in. I guess I never really thought about that, or I mean, could it make sense? Maybe in theory, but if you really thought that was the case and really wanted it, you should have. And I said this on Twitter was put this make this notable to the coaches. Say, like, hey, like my family's here. I'd like to be a captain, and this is my hometown. It means something to me to be a captain this week.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is he's coming off of an injury where they don't even. Matt LaFleur said it good, I think, in his press conference. They didn't even know if he was going to play before the game. And believe me, I think that if they don't play in Carolina, I think he probably doesn't play in that game. And he didn't really have a great game. He looked like he was hampered by an injury. So I think he
Yeah.
pushed himself because he wanted to play in his hometown, and it doesn't come every year where they could play in Carolina. So I think that's probably, and it kind of comes to some of our frustration, which couldn't Jair Alexander play some of those other weeks? If they were in Carolina, would he have had more internal motivation to play? Right? Like, I tend to believe so, but that's just speculation.
Mm-hmm.
But look, there's no excuse for going out there when no one ever told you to go out there. And then on
Exactly.
top of that, he was kind of nonchalantly saying like, "Yeah, we'll go on defense." And I don't know if you remember, Jeremy, but a few years ago with the Cowboys, they went out there and they said they want to kick, and the ref said, "Okay, you want to kick? Sounds good." The other team, the team that lost, what do you want to do the second half? And they said they want to receive, so they got the ball twice, and that's
Yeah.
the rule. So you can't say, we want to play defense. You got to say we defer to the second half. They will choose in the second half, and what do you call it? The um, other team that lost the coin toss can choose for the first half.
Yeah.
So effectively, they're going to pick the receive in the first half, and you're going to pick the receive in the second half. He's got to know that he's a veteran player. He's done the coin toss before. There's no reason why he should not know that. And the referees kind of they were saying that they were laughing it off, and they kind of gave him one there where he said, oh, "You mean you want to defer, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, I want to play defense." Like, look, if he would have made this mistake when he was supposed to be out there, that's bad enough. The
Yeah.
fact that he almost made that mistake, and well, he did make that mistake, and the referees had to bail him out when he wasn't supposed to be there. I mean, imagine if he would have taken a possession away from the Packers. This game was a three-score game, or a 3-point game, one score, right, and a 3-point game. They literally needed a half a second in order to spike it and then kick a pretty easy field goal to tie it up to go to overtime.
Yeah.
That one possession would have been the difference, probably. So Jair almost lost this team a game when they needed it, um, and it was a completely selfish move. Uh, Unacceptable. When I heard of it, I was pretty mad actually. Yeah, I didn't say too much about it. I kind of just let it go. But it was pretty weird. And some people were playing it off like, "Oh, that's just Jair being Jair." Nah, I don't like that. I don't think it's Jair being Jair. I think it's look, if he said, "Hey, coaches, I want to be out there because, you know, it means something to me. I'm from Charlotte. My family's going to be here. It's first time playing in Charlotte as a NFL." Okay, that's Jair being Jair. He wants to be there. Could you say it's selfish that he's asking to go out there? No, I don't think so. I think it makes sense, right? And it's Jair, he wants to do it, right? Like it's just him being and him asking, right? When
Yeah.
some other, like, let's say you're a rookie, right? He probably not going to ask, right? Because like, who are you to ask that, right? So Jair is probably going out of his way to ask, right, and do all that stuff. So if the coaches said, "No, why are you asking that? That's the I'm gonna you're talking too much, right? You're asking way too much, Jair." Then I would be totally on Jair's side. Question here though is he kind of made the decision on his own, and even if the coaches told him, "No, we're not gonna allow you to go out there," and then he goes and does it anyway, it's still not right. Like
Yeah.
he, he needs to ask. And if I would have found out the coaches would have said no to that, I would have said, okay, come on, like that's kind of stupid. Just let him do it. Like don't piss him off, right? We need Jair, right?
Yeah.
If there's one guy you don't want to piss off, it's Jair. So like let's not piss somebody off for something small. So let him do the coin toss. He really wants to do it, right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if he talked about it beforehand or not, but if he did, and they didn't do it, then they should have done it. Although he shouldn't have ran out there, right? He
Yeah.
should have maybe said something afterwards. Said, I'm really unhappy. I wanted to do the coin toss, and they wouldn't let me do it, right? That would be Jair being Jair. Is it insubordination? Probably, right? Because he's kind of going around the coaches to complain to the media. But I think he'd have right because he asked, he did everything he did, he could have, and now he's kind of angry that they didn't, you know, allow him to do it when it's a pretty small ask.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if he asked or not, but it didn't sound like he did. Because he also said like coach didn't know I was from Charlotte, so clearly he didn't mention it to them, right? So he didn't do it prior. So it seemed like he kind of just was mad that they didn't give him, like he almost wanted them to know like on their own, give him the captainship because he's from Charlotte. Like that's like a part of decision making. Who's from that town, right?
Mhm.
And then because they didn't do it and he didn't say anything, he kind of ran out there on his own and then almost screwed us up in possession. That's unacceptable. That's not Jair being out of Jair. That's just being a baby. And if anything, he is the leader on this team. He's a veteran presence. Although
Yep.
he's pretty young, he's still a veteran presence on the team, and he's making a ton of money. There's no excuse for that. So I'm all for the suspension of a game. Unfortunately, it's going to hurt us in a game that we need to make the playoffs. When we're
Yeah.
going against Justin Jefferson, who's arguably, if not, number one receiver in the league. Uh, he's number two or three, but I would say he's number one. Um, it's you don't want your best quarter, your all pro corner who hasn't been playing like an all pro, but on the sideline because of a disciplinary issue. But
Yeah.
it's the right thing to do, and here's why. Um, Look, you can't say, "Hey, this is wrong. We're going to discipline you, but we're going to wait till it's convenient for us because we need you this week." Because then the message that's sending is like people are getting special treatment based off of their level of talent in terms of what they can do conduct
Mhm.
wise. Um, so it's kind of sending a message to all the other players, like Jair gets special treatment compared to all you guys because he's an all pro player making all this money. So that's number one. Number
Yeah.
two, if he didn't do anything at all, I mean, that just looks really bad. And we're Aaron Nagler keeps saying it's a good thing that I agree with him on. He goes like you're asking for accountability, right? Well, this is accountability, and I agree. Like, um, we needed accountability for Jair in this instance. It was clearly something wrong that he did. It was made public knowledge. You can't just brush it under the rug. There needed to be some accountability there. Otherwise, this stuff's going to keep happening. It's definitely unfortunate. Can't happen again. If it happens again, you know, here's the thing, right? I'll leave it this and I'll let you go. We all gave Quay Walker an issue last year for like
Yeah.
playing too hard, and then what did he do again? He
hit the health the trainer. He hit the trainer.
Oh yeah, right. Like push the yeah, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
push the trainer.
Like nudged him
Yes.
almost, right? When what do you call it? Devontae Adams shoves the guy going outside,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
and gets no punishment for that whatsoever. Uh, what Quay Walker did last year was it dumb? Maybe I guess, but no one got hurt. It was just kind of like I don't know. It was kind of stupid. I think, but like that's just him. Like in the moment, like you could see Quay Walker cares.
Yeah.
This is like a purely selfish move that has nothing to do with the game, nothing to do with you know being too excited because you're too amped up. It's just like diva stuff, and that's
Yeah.
the one thing with Jair. He's a little bit of a diva. He really is.
Yeah.
Um, I like Jair, although if you're gonna be a diva, you better back it up. That's the problem, right? If you can back it up, be a diva all you want, right? Like
Yeah.
back it up. Although you can't go rogue like he did here, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to have some respect for the coaches and some respect for the process. But if you want to be a diva, wear like the
Same.
belts and do all this stuff and say what did he say in that press conference where he kept saying I don't know or something and like being like a diva. You want
Yeah.
to do that? You better back it up on the field, okay? Like saying Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here. You can't get fined, right?
Yeah.
If you're a terrible player, right? That stuff doesn't work, right? It just
Yeah.
looks dumb. But if you're Marshawn Lynch, who was a what do you call it,
Running
all pro
back.
running back, then it works, I guess. But if you stop playing like you are um, been playing, then that stuff doesn't work anymore. So
Yeah.
Jair hasn't been playing like an all pro quarterback this year. Some say he's hurt. I'm not sure. I'm assuming he is hurt, but he was back the last week and he looked pedestrian at best. So uh, he needs to step it up if he wants to play that act, or he should recreate himself back to, not a diva. Only
Yeah.
be a diva when you back it up.
Yeah.
If not,
Exactly.
don't.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you don't want to be like Juice Smith-Schuster when he was doing all the TikTok and being the meme boy, and that cost him the game against the Browns in COVID year. If you remember the postseason game, folks, that was like one thing where
Why did
it
it cost him the game?
because like the Browns used that as motivation and they destroyed Juju Smith-Schuster and took it to his face right off the bat, and they kept dancing all over him when they were getting blown out against when the Browns were blown out the Steelers in the
Yeah,
postseason.
I wouldn't say call that being a diva. It's almost kind of like, I, what's his name? Crap.
Mahomes,
No, no,
brother.
no, no. I'm talking about our backup quarterback that what do you call it? Does all the Twitter stuff. What's his name? That goes on the
Kurt Banker.
Grossi show. Kurt Banker. Thank you. Kurt Banker got in trouble for being on Twitter too much. The Packers didn't like him, like them doing that, right? But that's not being a diva. That's just kind of who he is. That's what he wants to do. It's honestly pretty smart, right? Because it makes it harder to cut that guy because the fans actually care about him when he's a third string quarterback. How many third string quarterbacks we have, like Danny Etling, or these guys like we don't even know who he is,
Yeah,
Um, he couldn't even if you walk by the street, you wouldn't know him. Who do we have right now in the practice squad? I forget his name. The guy from the USFL, right?
I believe Alex McGowan.
Alex McGow, right? You don't know who Alex McGow is. You have know nothing about him. So, if anything, Kurt Banker is smart, right? Because now he has a platform, and he kind of leveraged his spot on the team in the quarterback room with Aaron Rodgers to kind of get his name out there. So he's pretty smart. The Packers don't love that, right? Because it kind of hand ties what they could do with him. Because now the fans care about the third string quarterback. Um, but I wouldn't call that being a diva. I think that's just who he is. Juju Smith-Schuster, like I don't think the dancing thing is being a diva either. I think that's just kind of who he
Well,
is. I think that's kind of his personality.
well,
Although I agree, it became like a bulletin board, like it became a meme almost for the other team.
yeah.
But like I don't think that's wrong. Like I don't know. I
I mean,
think that's pretty
troll.
harmless.
He was like kept. Well, yeah, he kept trolling, which like on the Browns like own field too. I was like, okay, I don't think he needs to do. Like
Yeah,
he
that's
kept
what it
calling
was
out.
when he was doing it on their like
Yeah,
logo and
I was
stuff.
like,
That was the problem. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that
that's
was
where
the
he took it a little
problem.
bit too far. When he was
Exactly.
doing it in like the locker room and stuff, like yeah,
That's
I don't
fine.
know. But now he's Juju Smith-Schuster's not backing it up. He's not even in. Is he even
He's on the
playing well right
Patriots.
now? He's
No,
on
he's
the
not even playing
Patriots,
on Patriots.
right? So like if he goes on TikTok anymore, he's not backing it up. It's
Yeah,
all about what you can do that right if you're backing it up on the field. If you're not
Exactly.
backing it up, then don't be a diva. Don't kind of go crazy. And, and Jair is just innately a little bit of a diva, but that's kind of good because that's kind of what you're. Here's the thing, right? You're asking a cornerback to have that swagger, right? You kind of have to because you're going up against a top receiver
Mm-hmm.
in what do you call it? Whatever the top receiver is, Justin Jefferson, let's say, right?
Yeah.
You need to go punch to punch with that guy. And in order to do that, you need to have the confidence that you're going to beat him play in, play out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he beats you and you can't just drop it and forget about it, the next play he's going to beat you again. He's going to beat you again. So you got to have a play-by-play mentality and almost forget what happened prior because you need to know it's play-by-play. And the receiver knows where he's going, right? You don't know where he's going, so like they're gonna beat you. They're gonna beat you, especially if you're playing man coverage. If you're playing zone coverage, well then maybe if somebody gets wide open, it's not necessarily your fault. It's two guys' fault, so it's a little bit easier mentally to just let it go. But if you're playing man coverage, the guy beats you, you have to let it go. So that's just part of the job description for safeties. You have to have that swagger. You have to have that divaness a little bit. Same thing with receiver. That's why we've seen some divas on the receiver side. Terrell Owens, right?
Yeah.
Chad Ochocinco. There's been guys that have done that.
Randy
Have you
Moss.
really seen Randy Moss? Sure. Have you seen really divas on the offensive line? Not really. What do? They block, right? They're not the showboaters. They're not there and getting all the attention.
I mean, the only one I can see is maybe Jason Kelsey a little bit, but it's Jason Kelsey. So,
Yeah. Also, I wouldn't say he's more his brother, right? It's more he's
oh, what
leveraging
was
the platform of what because they're both had
about?
success in the
Yeah,
NFL with the mother and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's really a diva. Um, I think Travis is more of a diva than anything.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so that's the job search. That's what you're asking from this player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want it on the field, you kind of have to take it off the field too, right? That's part of the conundrum is
Exactly.
you got to deal with it. But if the guy's not performing on the field, then you better also back off the field until you start performing again. I don't
Yeah.
know, but Jair needs to get better from this. I
Yeah.
hope he takes it seriously, doesn't take it against it because I don't think this is anything against him. I think it's just a wake up call almost.
Yeah.
But he can't be doing that. He can't be doing it. If he thinks that he should be doing that, then that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
Um, Again, if he brought it up the right way and they set him down, and then he go and complain to the media after that, I would have been okay with that. I think going and taking matters into his own hands was where he crossed the line.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I'm thinking of this, it kind of reminds me of Deion Sanders a bit because Deion is one of the most diva players I've ever seen in football. Jair reminds me a little bit about him, where he like thinks is all like, especially in the post game conference, what Mike was mentioning earlier, of like how he reacted and was acting like it's all cool, man, it's all chill and everything. Because that kind of reminded me of like Deion when it was. I remember watching a documentary of like the 49ers against like the Chargers, and it was like days before the Super Bowl, and Deion's going out partying, all that, like 3 days before the Super Bowl, and he walks in like it's nothing. He's like, "Guys, we got this. We're all chill, we're relaxing." And it created a whole fight between him and Jerry Rice, and they got at it. So it just reminded me a little bit of that. It's like Jair, like I just don't think it was like that was just dumb on his part. Of like it was a selfish move. You shouldn't have done it. You should have talked to the coaches at least about it. Like him saying, "Oh, I thought coach do it." Like you should have told coach that you're from there because coach has more things to worry about than just knowing where you're from. No offense, Jair, but he's got more things on his hands there. Going back to a little bit earlier though, when Mike was mentioning accountability, it annoyed me of how LaFleur was talking about that. I get that they're using on Jair, but what about the accountability on Joe Barry? That's my question because especially when you go in the post game conference, it doesn't really talk about Joe Barry whatsoever or the defense doing terrible. It really talk about the offense lacking and messing up a bit towards the end of the game, which I understand that for a bit, but he didn't criticize the defense, and that's something that has been annoying with Matt LaFleur is he's not criticizing the defense. Now, I think Joe Barry's gone after the season, obviously, but I think he's not taking the accountability of the Joe Barry. He's not taking accountability of that. That's something that's taken out. It's annoying me a bit. So I just need to see like where's the accountability on that defensive side. Like I get the Jair thing and the suspension, but my whole fiasco is why didn't we do accountability earlier in the season? Why didn't we put Jair on the IR to start out with if he's not going to be a fully 100% when the Packers organization heavily focused on guys being 100% back because we've seen with David Bakhtiari's injury, he has not been the same. They don't put him out until he's 100%. It's been the thing with the Packers. Christian Watson does not play because of the hamstring. It's been a whole thing, and they're doing this now. Like I get, like it's a smart thing for that. The suspension, I'm 50-50 on that because I think there's like it's like the probably most important game right now. I think it's fine, and him being like limited, maybe sitting him would have done it better instead of suspension. Like you can have him out there, but sit him like Bill Belichick did with Malcolm Butler back in the Eagles Super Bowl that no one remembers, where Malcolm Butler was like the best player in the secondary for the Patriots against the Eagles, and he decides to bench him and not play him at all in the Super Bowl. Many people forget about that. So I think that would have been better if the Packers did that. But again, I understand with like them taking like not letting anyone like run the locker room at all because they're trying to hold the ship, control it a bit, and not let them get away with whatever they want, even if you're like a huge mega superstar. They're trying to be disciplined. I understand that, but why weren't we more disciplined a bit earlier in the season? That's my issue with it because LaFleur was like being hesitant on Jordan Love, letting the train wheels finally come off like in the middle of the season. It's just been annoying me a bit with that, especially with Matt LaFleur of the accountability on Joe Barry's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit different, right? And a lot of people use this comparison, like, hey, if we're gonna punish Jair, we got to punish Joe Barry for not what do you call it, not performing up to par. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone here is gonna what do you call it, argue that Joe Barry is not doing his job. This defensive performance has been pitiful against the defense who's, young and banged up, but they're supposed to be the better, more experienced of these two units, offense and defense. And the offense has made a lot of progress. Defense, I think, is, if anything, regressed
Yeah.
throughout the season. And it's got to fall on Joe Barry. So look, has there have to be accountability? Yes, there has to be accountability. Does Joe Barry need to be gone? Yes, Joe Barry needs to be gone. Is it the same as this Jair problem? No, it's not. And I'll explain why. So, one is a actual like conduct issue, something that has to do with mental responsibility and mental kind of maturity. And the other is, somebody's just not really good at his job. So I think, Joe Barry's going to be gone at the end of the season. If he's not, then that's more of a reflection on Matt LaFleur than anybody else. But I think we kind of know at this point that Joe Barry's not going to be gone before the end of the season. Kind of doesn't really make sense to fire him before the end of the season.
Yeah.
The Packers are still in the chance for the playoffs. If the Packers make the playoffs, your best chance of winning the Super Bowl is stability and the defensive coordinator, for better or for worse at this point. And if they don't, there's two, right? Here's the thing, right? So if you fire Joe Barry, you're basically saying we're gonna throw out this season and we're gonna get better for the future, right? But the Packers are still in the playoff picture at this point, right? So, what's better this year to make the Super Bowl, having stability or firing Joe Barry? I think it's stability, all right?
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna put somebody random in there, and they're gonna have to start something new at this juncture when you have to go into the playoffs and win every game to get to the Super Bowl. So the fact that the Packers are alive, I think, for the sake of this season, you have to leave Joe Barry in there.
Yeah.
But obviously, for future seasons, you got to get rid of Joe Barry. So what's the benefit of really firing him now if we all really know that he's going to be gone at the end of the season? Now, if he's not gone at the end of the season, that's a whole different story. That's on Matt LaFleur, right?
LaFleur's on the hot seat then.
Right, absolutely. So, I've seen what I've seen with Joe Barry. I in my mind, he's fired at this point. He's just kind of, doing his job for the end of the season. So I'm not too worried. I think it's gonna come. I think his accountability is gonna come. But again, like I said with this thing, Jair, if you don't do it now and you wait till next season, it kind of loses its steam, right? Like
Yeah,
you're going to suspend him 3 weeks after have it's old news at this point. It seems like it's an accumulation of things that has to do with like sitting out because of injury, and he's not really injured. Maybe, maybe not.
yeah,
But there's other things that Jair has done, like that press conference where he kept saying, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know." Um, that's not cool. I'm sure the coaches saw that. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure there's been things in meetings and stuff that he's done that usually when there's smoke, there's fire. So if we're seeing some things, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. There's probably a lot more behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
yeah,
Um, so it needs to be addressed now. It's not the same as Joe Barry. Joe Barry, hopefully, his um, what do you call it? Accountability is coming, and if he's not held accountable, that's more on LaFleur than it is Joe Barry, and fire them both.
yep,
And then it goes up to all the way up the chain.
exactly. I definitely agree there. Yeah, just need to see. Like, I definitely agree. Joe Barry's accountability is coming soon. Definitely like the smart moves I mentioned before with like just like not letting Jair get away with this because there were times where I feel like with the Packers like they let some players get away with some things which they do, and then they finally like wait till last second to like address it, which I think that's been the thing for the Packers, but yeah, I think that's been the thing for them. But let's move on to this upcoming week where the Packers battle of the North taking on the Minnesota Vikings, ladies and gentlemen. Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. Where the Vikings have been up and down, and they announced their quarterback starter today, folks. They are going with the rookie, Jaron Hall, BYU quarterback. He was the backup with Zach Wilson a couple years ago at BYU. He did play against the Packers the last time against the Vikings for about 9 snaps. He was 4 for 9, had 54 passing yards there towards the end of the game. So that's the thing there. TJ Hawkinson, I will mention, tore his ACL, so he will be out the remainder. He won't be this week. Jordan Addison did practice today, which I think he's going to play this week, is my suspicion. He didn't practice yesterday, but that was a walkthrough for the Vikings. He was limited today, so I think Jordan Addison is going to play this week. So it's going to be a tough battle and tough thing for the Packers secondary to try and keep up with these guys. Another player I do think is going to be sneaky good, who did have a good game the last time he played the Packers, was KJ Osborne. I think he's going to be pretty good. Now, last time the Packers played the Vikings and Lambeau, Packers did hold the run game very good, but the Vikings didn't have to run the ball because the Vikings just torched them on the secondary and just beat that soft coverage. They beat that soft zone coverage so many times where guys be 10 yards off and Justin Jefferson just get 5 yards, boom, easily. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing for them. And then on the defensive side, the Vikings did lose their one pass rusher for the remainder of the year. He's out, so they got Daniil Hunter, who's having a monster year, 15 sacks on the year. So he's gonna be someone to watch out for. Harrison Smith, always have to watch out for him. He's been one of the best safeties past decade, I will say. Brian Flores, you got to watch out for the blitzes on the offense. You don't know what's going to be happening. So that's the stretch for the Vikings. Now I'll hand it over to Mike of what his thoughts are for this upcoming game, which Joe Barry's most likely going to make Jaron Hall of Famer out of this game.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a good game. The Packers absolutely need this win. It's a must win. Um, their playoff chances skyrocket if they can get it. They have to go into Minnesota, into U.S. Bank Stadium, which they've had trouble in the past. It's going to be loud, you know that. But without Kirk Cousins, this is a whole different Minnesota Vikings team. Now I know they got healthy recently, although they just lost T.J. Hawkinson, which is a big loss for the Vikings because the Packers have always gotten killed by the tight end over the middle,
Yep.
and T.J. Hawkinson is probably one of the better tight ends in the league, if not, you know, top 5.
Yep.
So that's a big loss for the Vikings. Like you said, Jordan Addison probably is going to play. Justin Jefferson, we just lost Jair Alexander for suspension, so we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. But like I said, it was necessary. So I think the defense is going to have a tough performance. I think Eric Stokes needs to step up. Don't forget, Eric Stokes is a first-round safety. First-round quarterback. It's time. It's time. Eric Stokes. This is his opportunity. against playoffs. Kind of in the mix here. Going against Justin Jefferson, he needs to shut him down. We need Keyshawn Nixon to play well. So we need the secondary to play well. We need to get pressure on the young quarterback. This is his first start of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Um, no, it's not his first start. It's his second start technically because his first start was against the Atlanta Falcons. He got concussion that game, and Josh Dobbs came to the game and the Vikings won that game because of him.
Got it. So Josh Dobbs has been sat, right? And now they're playing
Yeah.
between
Mullins.
he's not Mullins and this Jaron Hall guy.
Yeah.
Got it.
So Dobbs is the
So
third guy, Mullins the second, and Hall is the first.
right. So I mean, this Vikings team, they can't pick a quarterback. Um, so I think we could win the game. I really think we can. I think the difference of this game might be Jordan Love. The Packers having a consistent quarterback. Hopefully Jaden Reed could come back. That'd be big if he can play. Doesn't seem like Christian Watson is coming back. Man, it sucks with Christian Watson. This guy always has these hamstring injuries. He can't play. This 2 years in a row now.
Yep.
Unfortunate. But I think the offense is going to be the difference. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Indoors. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the Packers defense is going to play well, but I don't think the Vikings defense is going to play well either. And I think the difference here might be Jordan Love. So I think the Packers could win this game, and I think they should win this game. I think they're the better team of the two without Kirk Cousins. So I'm hoping that they could pull this one out. I really am. And then we go home for playoff game against the Bears. It's literally a playoff game. I mean, if any fan out there wants to go to a playoff game this year in Lambeau Field, the Bears game is the game to go to.
Yeah.
But let's see who knows? Maybe I'll go, Jeremy. No, I don't think so.
But
it would be like a playoff game. It really would.
Let's just get through this game, and then we talk about the Bears next week. Let's just get through this before we get into anything else here, pretty much, because last time we did that, it hurt the Packers last time, so...
Yeah, week by week. Right. Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs, Jeremy?
Yeah, playoffs.
I'm not talking about playoffs. But no, if the Packers win this game, I like our chances. I really do. Our playoff odds skyrocket.
Yep.
We need a few things to happen. It's not win out and you're in. You need a few things to happen, but I think it's probably going to happen. It looks like the 49ers got something to play for week 18 week 18. So hopefully, the Rams lose, the Seahawks can get a loss somewhere, and the Packers could win out here, and maybe we got a chance at the playoffs. But you need to beat this Vikings team first, and it's on the road. It's not going to be an easy game. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not going to be an easy game. Jordan Love needs to play really well. They need to get the running game going. AJ Dillon, hopefully, he's a little bit better with his thumb. Aaron Jones needs to have a big game. There's no excuse for sitting Aaron Jones at all this game. Make him the workhorse back. We need him out there.
I think this is Aaron's game because when he's faced the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, it's been one of his career days. We can go look at the past games, like especially the one where Packers clinched the NFC North right before Christmas. They got done because Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones and Jordan Love, but mainly Aaron Jones, the running game, are going to be a huge piece in this game for the Packers to win. It's going to be one of the big things that has to happen.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's gonna be the key to me. How Aaron Jones plays this game. I mean, you saw some of the flashes last week. Aaron Jones is a difference maker. We know he's a difference maker. For some reason, they don't make him the workhorse back. They're afraid of him getting hurt. But at this point, there's 2 games left in the season. It's a playoff game. There's no a de facto playoff game. But there's no reason not to have him out there 90% of the time. He's our best player. He's our best player on offense. Give him the ball. Let's see make him stop him. Anything else in feeding Aaron Jones season? I'm not happy on the offensive side. The defensive side, I'm not expecting much. I'm really not. I think we know what we're getting on the defense. I think you need to pressure this young quarterback. Make him, just say like Jordan Love was playing against the Chiefs and they pressured him like crazy. Do that. Make him beat you. If he can beat you, if Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison can beat you with getting balls thrown to him by a rookie quarterback that was just concussed, more power to them. See if they can. Who can win that game? Jordan Love or them? I think it'll be the Packers. So get him under duress. Make him make a mistake. Don't give him all day in the pocket to dissect you because Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are going to get open if you give him all day. So that's the thing. You know, don't give him much time. So he has to get the ball out quickly, make quick decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson can run around all day. If he can't make the quick decision at quarterback, he can't get the ball to him. So that's the game plan for me. Blitz, give Aaron Jones the ball as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. I think another big thing in this game is going to be the turnover battle. I say if the Packers win the turnover battle, then it's going to cause the Vikings sideline and Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach, to make the decision of whether do we want to keep this kid in, make a switch at one of the quarterbacks, because they've been shuffling around like wild cards and hoping that someone could do something for them. So I think turnover battle is going to be huge for this game. If they can force, like, as you mentioned, the pressure, get a lot of blitzing, get sacks, interceptions, I think if they win the turnover battle, that makes it a lot easier for the Packers because Packers defense is very low in the rankings for takeaways and turnover battles. So Packers could get a turnover, it could do well for them and help this team out a lot more. But I think pressuring is going to be a huge thing. I don't know how much he runs of Jaren Hall. I don't want to see a Tommy DeVito run out there. I just don't.
Right.
You need if he's going to run,
you need to contain him.
Just contain him. And that's a big issue with the Packers is they have not done well with that. But they need to do better of just sacking the guy, getting it done. That's got to be the thing. And these guys got to step up because the defense, we already know what's going to happen with it. But hopefully we get to make some couple stops here and there. And that's what I hope for on the defense. Offensively, I'm really hoping on the run game. Jordan Love, he's looked sharp. Can he keep it again? Because this is a big test for Jordan Love in this condition, like a playoff game we mentioned. Going through Minnesota, which is one of the loudest stadiums. You're going to be hearing the stupid horn noise as Jordan Love is right here, folks. So you're going to be hearing a lot of the horns, which I'm going to be chucking at. If I was at the game, I'd be chucking at the horns because I hate that noise so much and just want to shut them up because they will not stop blowing, especially on the third down is where they get the loudest. So that's going to be huge. So I think communication is also going to be very key because you could lose track of what you're hearing in that stadium. So you got to be loud and make sure everyone knows the play. So I think that's going to be a huge thing, though, for the Packers to try and win this game here. Which I do see them winning here. However, I'm like with Mike, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game than many people are thinking it. I think the Packers can pull off the upset. However, got to play complimentary football and get the job done. Treat this like a playoff game. Beat it. You got to win this because it's a big test for this Packers team right now. It's a big test for Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst, Jordan Love. All this evaluation where we said it's evaluation year. This is an evaluation game here, ladies and gentlemen. My opinion. This is an evaluation game, so you have to look at that. I think you have to look at that.
I agree. I think it's a big game for Jordan Love to go into our arch rivals' home with the playoffs on the line. I think this is a statement game for Jordan Love. If he could win this game in a decisive fashion, have a really good game, that's huge. That's huge for Jordan Love's confidence and our confidence in him moving forward, being the guy at quarterback. I think he's had a pretty good season compared to what we were expecting. But this is a big game. This is on the road against a division rival. The Minnesota Vikings, like you said, is gonna be loud. The playoffs on the line for them as well. So if Jordan Love can have a great game, one of the best games of the season for him, that's really confident in me that he could be the guy moving forward. So
I definitely.
so yeah. Look, we got a question here.
Oh, we got a Browns fan out here.
Browns. I was just about to talk about the Browns.
Yeah,
I'm watching a game here. Let's answer the question and I'll talk about the Browns. I'm pretty impressed.
Well, Tucker Kraft scored this week. He's a huge Tucker Kraft fan, Mike.
Tucker Kraft, he's been playing well, and this draft has looked really good for us, right? It has looked really good, and it's a season where you needed rookies to be, high performers and help this team succeed. And this kind of shows, the Packers recipe in the past. Look at Rashawn Gary. Look at some of these guys that they kind of made them do nothing at the rookie year. This year, they were kind of forced to play the rookies. And look at the success we've been seeing. Luke Musgrave, now Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed. Some of these young guys on the defensive side. Anthony Johnson Jr. has got a lot of playing time. Carrington Valentine, Carl Brooks, right? There's another guy on the defense line that's escaping me right now. But Colby Wooden, thank you. The Tavian Wicks, right? Don't forget about him. Mo Belton's on a what do you call it, a rookie. But Lucas Van Ness has had a decent season. They've been giving the young guys playing time, and we've seen them learn on the fly. And now next season we're going to be that much ahead because the rookies have had this season to learn. So I think that's good. Tucker Kraft, right? It's been what do you call it? Luke Musgrave got hurt with the what do you have? Punctured lung or kidney? Lacerated kidney?
Yeah.
Yep. And Tucker Kraft has came in and he really hasn't skipped the beat. He's got a few touchdowns. He keeps hurling people. He's got to be careful. I don't know why he's hurling people when there's no place to go. He's going to hurt himself doing that. But, I like the effort. I do like the effort, but he's got to be careful with the hurdling. But yeah, will he score this week?
I think he will.
I'd say so. I mean, if I had a bet, I'd say so. But I don't know. I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to have another good game. And I think he's going to be a focal point of this offense because, TJ Hawkinson is out on the other side. Tucker Kraft could play that role on the Packers side. So I think he has a good game. What do you think, Jeremy?
I definitely think I have him in fantasy, which this fantasy.
You're in the finals?
No, it's
Yeah. So what does it matter?
It matters to me just trying not to finish in last place. That's all that matters.
Oh, you could be in last place?
I could be in last place for this. So all I care
I
is
was second to last place. There's no punishment to being in last place?
The punishment in my league, which the Browns fan here is the commissioner in my league.
There
punishment is you have to sit in a pink chair at the upcoming draft. That's the punishment.
Wait. So you're telling me that on our draft party, right? You could be in a pink chair. So the punishment could be live on
the fantasy football draft.
Not the NFL draft.
No.
Now the commissioner is on here, right? Here's what we should do, right? You should have to do your punishment live on air for the draft party.
Well, the commissioner would have to propose that, so we'll see what the commissioner says there. I proposed this other punishment was the person who finished in second to last place. The whole league decides what your team name is for the year.
Okay.
So that's the punishment. Yeah. I want to be more punishable and.
In my league, the playoffs don't matter. So I came in second to last. It was really bad. But you have to eat like pancakes. It's like one of those things you have to sit in IHOP for 24 hours, or you eat one pancake to get yeah. So luckily I don't have to do that. So yeah, maybe my figure doesn't kill me. Yeah. So lucky there. He followed it up here with Joe Flacco will be hosting his second Lamar. So that leads me perfectly in what I was going to talk about. Joe Flacco, man. What's funny is the Browns just scored a touchdown. Guess what? It was Joe Flacco to Elijah Moore. Two guys that the Jets didn't want, right? Because Joe Flacco reached out to the Jets after Rodgers got hurt. And they turned him down. And Elijah Moore was on the Jets, and they let him go, right? Or they traded him to the Browns? One of the other.
I traded to the Browns, and I benched him. So that helps me perfectly.
Yeah. But no, Joe Flacco's looking good. I mean, the Browns are winning 27-7. I mean, they keep putting up a bunch of yards or a bunch of points. Amari Cooper had a career game last week with like 260 receiving yards or something. I mean, this is impressive, huh?
They're doing without Amari Cooper also.
Amari Cooper's not playing right now. He got hurt, and
yeah, he got hurt. They said he was going to play for like 2 hours, and then 1 hour later, goes by and said, "Yeah, he's not playing tonight." So he's not playing. So. Not only does this help the Browns make the postseason, but it helps the Packers also, since we hold the Jets' second-round pick. And if the Jets lose tonight, hopefully, this would increase the odds for the Packers to move up 1 or 2 spots here. So they'd be looking at maybe the 38, 39 spot temporarily heading into this week if all results holds for the Browns. So that way, the Packers would have either the 6th or 7th overall pick in the second round.
Right. Right, and it's unfortunate the Packers aren't going to get the first round pick of the Jets, but the worse the Jets do, the higher second round pick we'll get. So we'll probably get a top 10 pick in the second half or second round.
Right.
Not the best return we could have asked for, but given the fact that we didn't have to see Rodgers hold a Lombardi this year, which I don't think would have happened even if he played the whole season, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, this Browns team is pretty impressive. They're going to go 11-5 here. If they win next week, I don't know who they play next week, but they have a chance to go 12-5 for a team that was one time the worst team in the league. They're going to be in the driver's seat with one of the top wild card spots. They could go on a run, the Browns. So interesting.
I could see it. They play the Bengals next week, so I could definitely see them get a high wild card seed. The division's out of their hands because of the Baltimore Ravens, but I definitely could see them make a run here in this postseason. So I could see it with them. But yeah,
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If the Ravens hit the AFC Championship game, could you work that game?
I don't know. I haven't. I don't know. I might be able to, but I have to double check. I might be able to.
You could go into the AFC Championship game.
I would like to see. I will try and see if I can get it to that. But that'd be pretty cool though if I got the opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be interesting though if it happens. But yeah, so heading back to the Packers real quick here, and then we'll log off here and end this episode. Packers playoff hopes here, please show it. So obviously the Packers need to win out. That's priority. That's what you're focusing on if you're a Packers fan right now. He's focusing on beating the Vikings this week. Because if you don't beat the Vikings this week, you're out pretty much. It's an elimination game, like we mentioned. It's a playoff game, folks. Second thing, you need 2 to 3 things to happen in this for the Packers to make it to the postseason with the Packers winning out. You need the Falcons to lose one game. You need the Seahawks to lose one game. You need the Rams to lose one game. For the Falcons' sake, they hold the tiebreaker over us because we lost them early in the season. So that's why we need them to lose pretty much. But the Rams, they face the Giants this week, which they're facing against Tyrod Taylor. So that's going to be interesting. We have to see if the Giants can win, which I don't see with the Giants here. For the Seahawks' sake, I think this is going to be a close matchup with the Steelers. The Steelers are hungry. They're trying to get the win, trying to get in the postseason right now. Mike Tomlin trying to keep his winning streak alive since it's been it's in his whole tenure. He's never had a losing record season. So I think that's going to be the closest chance, in my opinion, for an upset of where we need one of these 3 teams to lose this week. And then the next week, you got the Rams and the 49ers. Now, the 49ers might have something to play for. They might. However, the 49ers, and this is what I'm going to tell you, Mike, and the Packer fans out here, 49ers can clinch the number 1 seed this week. They can clinch it with a 49ers win, an Eagles loss, and a Lions loss. That would be it for them. But Eagles are playing the Cardinals this week. Lions are playing the Cowboys this week. So all you really have to root for is the Lions and Eagles, one of them just to win this week. Because then, boom.
Right, which the Eagles should beat the Cardinals.
They should. They should have beat the Seahawks when we needed them to. But hey, you need it to happen. You need the Eagles to win this week. That's going to be your high probability chance of one of these 2 teams most likely winning, because the Cowboys and Lions are like the same. You don't know what to expect from them. They have high moments, they have low moments. So that's the rooting guide, folks. You need, once again, Packers win out, 2 to 3 things to happen. Rams loss, Seahawks loss, Falcons loss. Need 2 to 3 to happen. So could happen. But I would be also happy if the Packers finish out 9-8 and don't make the postseason too. I'd be fine with that also. And I tell you why, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
You look at the Detroit Lions. They beat the Packers and did not let them make it to the postseason, and it was just try to ruin the Packers' hopes there. They didn't even make it in the postseason there. But you see what came into the season. That got their hopes, finished strong, and they filled with that throughout the season so far. Fought through it, and they got good winning games and played great football. It helped them take the next step to becoming a better football team. So I want the Packers to finish strong this year. That's my goal. Make the postseason, Be nice. I know we're going to get blown out in the first round most likely, but just be nice for the Packers to finish strong here, get the dub against Minnesota, then focus on the Bears. But right now, priority is the Minnesota Vikings, ladies and gentlemen. That's the priority.
So it looks like if the Bears and the Giants beat the Falcons and the Giants beat the Rams, the Packers then control their own destiny. You agree with that?
Yes.
So that's big. That's the big rooting guide of this
Exactly.
week. You need the Bears to beat the Falcons, which I think is possible. It's at home.
I think it is.
That's the thing. Both teams are home.
Yes. However, with the Bears, two of their stars are hurt. Darnell Mooney did not practice. Cole Kmet, their tight end, did not practice. So offensively for the Bears, that's going to hurt them a little bit, though.
Maybe I should go to this Giants Rams game on Sunday.
Maybe
It's a big game. I mean, it's a big game for the Packers, actually.
just root. I'm not a Giants fan. I'm rooting against the Rams, though. Just put a sign out.
I could root for the Giants for my first time ever rooting for the Giants.
There you go.
Look at that. I think I'll take a pass, but who knows? Maybe if the tickets are real cheap, I'll go. I'll wake up Sunday morning and decide if the tickets are cheap enough. But hey, look, that would be big, right? Because the Packers don't pay till that night, right? And we need some. Not that one person is going to make the difference at home, but maybe so. I'll go there, I'll have all my blue on, let's go, big blue, I hate the Giants. That's the thing. It would suck to do that, but I'm going to have to take one for the team here.
Currently, they are the cheapest ticket I saw was $37.
Really?
I saw the cheap ticket was $37. $42 I keep seeing out here. What else do I see? 42.
I'm sure the morning of it'll be like you could walk in for like $10. Okay, if it's not super cheap, I won't go, If it's super cheap, then maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, that's the Packers brooding guide, folks. But most important thing for Packer, try and get this win in Minnesota. That's the goal where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're at.
Yep, I totally agree. You can only control the controllables. The Packers need to beat the Vikings, but as fans, we don't control anything, so we can watch these two games. You need go. Two of my least favorite teams I got to be rooting for, but that's all right. We'll do it for the Packers' sake. So let's go Bears. Let's go Giants.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly.
Yeah, and then the Packers control their own destiny. You don't have to do anything other than win 2 games.
Exactly. It could fall once again in the Packers' hopes, but hey, we gotta wait and see here. Packers have a shot.
And who would we play? We'd play whoever the second seed is, right? It'd probably be the last.
Most likely be Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Or no, excuse me, it might be the Lions actually. It would be either the Lions or Philadelphia.
Let's see. So the ESPN playoff machine, right? That's a good one for this, right?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So if let's do this. Let's say the Packers win both games, right? Packers win both games, and then we got the Giants and Bears winning. So where do we see that? We see the Giants and we see the Bears. Packers would be your 7th seed against Philadelphia, number 2. So let's say Philadelphia beats the Cardinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Philadelphia beats the Giants,
Mm-hmm.
right? They'd be your number 1 seed, unless you have the 49ers who plays the Commanders. They're probably going to win.
Yep.
All right. And let's say the 49ers beat the Rams, then they're number 1 seed. But if they lose, then Detroit's actually the 2 seed compared to San Francisco.
I wouldn't want the 49ers to be the number 2 seed. That's all I care. If we even make it a that's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm scared of I'm facing.
So I think Detroit. I think it could be either Philadelphia, San Francisco, or Detroit.
I don't see Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys I have winning here. I'd have them winning here too. So the Cowboys would be 12-5. Yeah, it seems like Philadelphia's gonna be 13-4, right? Because they're probably gonna win both their games.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like the Cowboys could actually beat them, right?
Yeah.
Because they'd be 12-5. So
yeah.
And same thing with San Francisco, right? But San Francisco. Oh no, San Francisco will be 13-4. Yeah, so it's either San Francisco, Philadelphia, Detroit. The Packers would play. It seems very unlikely they'd play Dallas.
Yeah.
So hey, look, we could go to the game, Philadelphia.
I don't know about that, Mike. I don't know about that.
Why? You think we'd get attacked?
Yes, I think
That's all right.
I
We
think
got to take one for the team, Jeremy. How are we going to make the Super Bowl if we're worried about getting attacked? It is what it is. We got to be loud for our team in enemy territory.
I'll be loud from my basement. That's what I'll do.
Okay. All right. You be scared.
You can go. I don't care.
That's all right. If they pour beer on me, I'll what do you call it? I'll be sad. But yeah, so I think that's the best case scenario. I don't think there's any way the Packers could be a 6 seed unless, let's see, if the Vikings lose.
It's if everyone loses out, pretty much.
Yeah, because Seattle plays Arizona, so you'd have to hope that Arizona.
You need Arizona to kind of be clutch for us of just losing this week and win next week. That's
Right, exactly.
We need Arizona to be clutch a little bit here.
Yeah, right. So if the Seahawks will lose to the Steelers this week, and then even if the Seahawks win next week, let's see,
they'd be out for if we win out. This is only if we win out too.
But, yeah, right. Oh yeah, and the Seahawks win, yeah, then we're still the 6th seed actually. So yeah, so the Packers could be the 6th seed, but still, you'd still play San Francisco, Philadelphia, or Detroit. So it's one of those 3 teams we're going to play ultimately. Whether or not you're 7th seed or 6th seed doesn't really matter. You're going to play San Francisco, Philadelphia, or Detroit if you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to play Tampa Bay. You're not going to play Dallas. You're not going to play Seattle or the Rams or anybody else. So it would be Seattle and Green Bay. But it all starts this week. If you don't beat the Vikings, this conversation is null and void because technically the Packers go lose to the Vikings and still make the playoffs in theory. But it would require you would know by game. You would know by game time. You would require all those teams losing. So yeah, you would know by game time if that's the case.
And the Packers
the Browns just scored again. The Jets defense looks terrible. They look worse than Joe Barry. They're getting what do you call it?
Can we hire the
carved up by Flacco?
Give me the defensive coordinator for the Browns, Jim Schwartz, the former Lion head coach. Give me him.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Or Mike Zimmer. I'll even take Mike Zimmer out.
I'm really good with Mike Zimmer. I think that was a great idea. Yeah.
Give me something like that. Yeah.
All right. So I think it's gonna be New Year's Eve. So make sure you have your champagne and your what are you doing for New Year's, Jeremy?
I probably was watching football.
Yeah.
It
looks like that's what I'm going to be doing too. But it's not a great time to be playing because I'm sure just people are trying to do other stuff. But hey, we got playoffs on the line. We got to be going and watching the game. So yeah. So it'll be a fun time. Yeah. Hey, maybe we should live stream it if you're not doing anything. I don't know. We'll see.
I think we learned our lesson about that, Mike. We're 0-2 when we're live streaming. So I think next season, wait. Next season, I think that's the time, unless we want to go for the playoff.
That's true. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, hopefully the Packers get the win, man. It would be nice to get in the playoffs. Once you're in the playoffs, anything could happen. Do I think the team's going to win the Super Bowl? No. But hey, if you get in the playoffs, you could beat a few teams, right? It doesn't seem like we're going to have a home playoff game. That's the best part about the playoffs is I would like to go to a home playoff game. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen unless you view the Bears game as a home playoff game. But yeah, I don't think it's worth it to go travel over there for a Week 18 game that in theory is a playoff game, but it really isn't a true playoff game. Yeah. I think you have to go to a playoff game, real playoff game. So, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be the year where the Packers have a home playoff game. Unless somehow they get the 6th seed and play Seattle and play the 7th seed in the NFC Championship game. That's the only shot.
Revenge. That's revenge.
It's the only shot. As if the Packers get the 6th seed. Otherwise, no Lambeau in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, another good episode. By the way, I still haven't watched your video. You got to plug it. You got to plug it to the. We don't have any viewers right now, but plug it for the
Which video? The movie one?
The Aaron Rodgers one, yeah. I
That's
gotta
like
watch that still.
that's 53 minutes, Mike.
No, you don't have to show it right now. Plug it.
Oh, okay. I mean it's premiere though. It's had over I believe 95 views so far.
Nice. Yeah. Well, definitely gonna take a watch through. I saw some of it, but I gotta watch the whole thing. How'd you put that together? You put it together in like iMovie?
No, I did CapCut. That's like the best like software I've used now. I started using it like for this is probably my second year using it. It's like made me change like everything I've like editing gets me everything I want out of it instead of like it gets like if I want to cut something, it deletes like I want to delete that small clip, moves it along. I don't have to shift everything of like move down, gets the audio perfectly as I want to everything I want out of it, it's like perfect. Except like when I had to do Adobe Premiere Rush, it would take forever for that downloading for it to occur. So it's pretty good, I would say, for the majority of the time.
It's free, or you got to pay for it?
That's free.
Hmm.
I use it on.
I'll take a look.
I just do it on my computer majority of the time. So yeah,
That's good.
yeah. So,
All right. Yeah. So why don't you what do you call it? Tell us where you can find you. I'll go second this time.
all right. Well, you all know where to find me on this YouTube channel. I have my first YouTube channel and then my second YouTube channel, which I'm gonna start. I just started. I filmed one video today, which is doing all the Sixers a bit. So I'm gonna be using the second channel mainly for the Phillies and the Sixers, a little of the Flyers when I have the time there. So that's Philadelphia side there for the second channel. But for the main channel, working on the Aaron Rodgers video right now. We'll be doing Goat Series Season 2. I will be announcing that very soon, and Mike will be a part of that. Even though he has no idea about it, he will be joining for that video.
Guess so. I learned news live on air too.
So Mike will be joining for one episode where it will be a 32 episode gig compared to 21 episodes. We're making it more episodes this year, ladies and gentlemen, for this. And that will be one. Also, we'll be announcing the Olympic video I will be having out this upcoming spring. I will be having that come out. Where it'll be me and some people that have been featured on this channel before will compete in the most random contest and try to be the best and be the winner of the Olympic Jimmy House Sports.
Like in person?
In person, we'll be doing it.
Can I join?
If you want to make the whole way down here, if you really want to.
Yeah. What are we doing?
So it would be like the most random activity you could do is like make a free throw shot, spin 10 times around and try to kick a field goal. So there's that.
Maybe. We gotta talk off air, but yeah, why not? It's not that far.
No, it's not that far. So yeah, we have to. Yeah. So like me and my buddies, we're trying to.
Badminton. Can we play badminton? It's in the Olympics now.
We still have to wait. We're still trying to decide game ideas. Trying to decide.
All right.
So we're trying to decide there, and then I will be having my fantasy football season video coming out of what it's like to be a fantasy football person, of having a fantasy football team. Not fun. That's what I'm just gonna tell you right away. It's not fun. So
yep.
That's what I would say the best. And so yeah, I'll be having pretty much 5 videos trying to come out, and I'll be very active in January when I have time. So yeah.
Sounds good. All right. For me, PackReacts podcast. Here's the counter for followers. We're at 647, Jeremy, as of this episode. My goal was to get to 1K before the end of the season. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's okay. We're 650 is pretty high, so we're going to keep chipping away. We're getting up to like 5 viewers on the podcast on Twitter. I don't know about on YouTube, but on Twitter we're up like 5 viewers at one point. So we're getting some viewers. It's good. Hopefully we get some chatter in the chat. We always like that because then it gives us something to talk about that our viewers want to hear. So maybe what we should do, we should put a banner up. Like, feel free to write in the chat or something like that for future things. But we're killing it on that. I think we're gonna have future collabs. We were talking to one guest. We gotta figure that out for the new year. Obviously John's gonna be back in the new year. I think he's taking a few weeks vacation, well deserved. So, we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll be talking about the Packers playoffs at that point and not talking about the Packers off season. But hopefully we'll be talking about the playoffs. And maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll see Jeremy and I in Philadelphia. We'll get some content over there for playoff round, wild card playoff round.
Yeah.
We'll be live on air. We'll be showing the life of a away fan in what do you call it?
At Lincoln Financial Stadium.
Yeah, right, exactly. And if we make it out alive, then we'll have in future episodes. If not, that was we had a good run there, Jeremy.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
all right, cool. So so you want to lead us out of here?
Yes, and I will mention I'm about 34 subs away from 300, which I don't think I'm gonna get to 300.
Yeah, get this guy to 300. Hit the bell.
We need to get this.
Subscribe.
Yes, exactly. Hit the bell, subscribe. We need all that. Twitter, if you're out there, go to my channel and just hit the stuff on it.
Yes, add Jeremy too.
It's all we have a quick comment, ladies and gentlemen, before we have. Epic show as always. Go Browns.
Thank you. And hey, thanks for joining while the Browns are playing. I wouldn't be joining a podcast that the Packers are playing unless it's a Packers podcast. Even then, I probably wouldn't. So hey, I appreciate the support there.
Exactly.
And don't forget, Jeremy's punishment's got to be live on air, not what do you call it? Or make it both. Make him do it in your fantasy draft.
That's
live on air.
That's a little crucial there. That's a little bit crucial.
Yeah, making your punishment worth, Jeremy. I mean, that's easy. Sit in a chair. You have to buy the chair. Do you have a pink chair?
So at our fantasy football draft, they have a pink chair. I don't have a pink chair, so I would have to figure that out.
Okay.
I would have to figure
where's the fantasy draft? Is it close by to your house?
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes.
So then just pick it up. Tell them you'll bring it back.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. All right.
Let's hit the outro here for this upcoming week. We don't hear the skull chant because that's the most stupidest chant, and Viking fans stole that from the Iceland soccer team. This is original. Go, Pack! Go! Go, Pack! Go!